The pandemic reshaped our lives in unimaginable ways. While essential workers kept society running, many of us were confined to our homes, adapting to a new way of life, a life where living, working, and learning often happened in the same room. In a word, we were stuck. Our plans for the future halted. If you felt this way, you're not alone. Over the past year, 75% of people say they felt stuck in their professional lives. 93% reflected on their personal and professional lives. And 88% said their meaning of success has changed and that work-life balance, mental health, and flexibilities are top priorities. With the world on pause, many people took this time to reflect on what mattered most to them, shifting their priorities to focus on mental and physical health, work-life balance, equity and diversity, and flexibility. These shifting priorities have given way to rethinking their meaning of success. With a renewed sense of purpose, how are workers taking control of their career and finding work that delivers more freedom? So I'd like to introduce my next guest, Orchid. Orchid is like many of us, stretched thin with many responsibilities, family and work pressures, compounded with the stress of the pandemic. She felt like she'd lost sight of who she really was. And she talks with us today about her own struggles with burnout and how she shifted her life to align with the impact she wants to make in the world. Hi, Orchid. So I'm really glad that you're with me today and talking about your own story.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
First, I just want to ask one simple question, which we should be asking people more frequently, is how are you? How are you doing?
I am much better than I was just a few months ago. So, things are moving in the right direction. Thank you for asking.
First, I just want you to tell us a little bit about your story from the beginning of the pandemic. Maybe share with us some of your experiences that you had.
Sure, I'm happy to. And the reason why I like sharing this is that hopefully it resonates with other folks as well. So when the pandemic started, I want to say early March of 2020, my husband had already, he mentioned that his work was already being disrupted by COVID, right? And so we live in San Francisco. We have a 4-year-old daughter. She was 3 at the time. And we were worried about daycares closing because we both work full time. And so if she were home all time, that would be very disruptive to our work. And also we just wouldn't be able to give her the care and the attention that she really needed and deserved. So he said, hey, why don't we go stay with my mom in Michigan for 2 weeks? In case daycares close, we've got a support system there. And so it was similar to Gilligan's Island, where it's about a 3-hour tour. So we packed for 2 weeks. And we actually ended up staying in Michigan, where my mother-in-law was, for about 11 months. It definitely impacted it in so many ways that I don't think I even realized at the time, because you're just so heads down trying to get through each hour and each day. And so for me, I'm many things to many different people, and I'm sure a lot of us, and you are as well. I'm a mother, I'm a spouse, I'm a daughter, I'm a friend, I'm a leader, I'm a manager, a coworker. And so when you're trying to be all these things to all these different people in a very uncertain environment, for me, I just lost sight of who I was for myself. And what happens there is that when you don't put the oxygen mask on yourself or really refuel yourself or understand what meaning you want to derive from the things that you do, that you just can't show up for other people the way that you want to. And then that impending guilt comes and it's kind of just extremely, extremely circular. So for me, a lot of it was thinking to myself, all right, like, what do I need in order to show up for people in the way that I want to, right? Like not just the bare minimum that I was doing. So a lot of it was self-reflection and a lot of it was, related to my work. Because for better or for worse, I derive a lot of self-worth and meaning from the work that I do. I mean, we spend about 40 to 50 to 60 hours a week at work. It wasn't about the company and what I was doing at the time, but it was about what it meant for me and the legacy that I wanted to leave. And the last thing I'll say about it is that, at the end of the day, it's about our one chance that we have on this planet to make a difference, however we define it. And I just really wanted to reevaluate that and think about, how I'll end up measuring my life.
So Orchid, I have one more question for you. How has your meaning of success changed, and what are you doing to move forward?
Through the self-introspection, I really thought about this idea of effort to impact ratio, where I really wanted to maximize the impact that I had in this world, in the workplace, as a woman, as an Asian American woman. And so for me, it was about being in a situation where I could, kind of drop the ladder down behind me and move about the world in a way that allowed other people, to come along with me. And I think that generationally, and sometimes it's not. I mean, there's effectively two types of leaders, is how I've thought about it, which is one pulls up the ladder behind them, and it comes to life in a way where they say things like, "Oh, well, I did my time," or "I worked my way up," or "I put my time in," and that's certainly one mentality. And the other one is one where you can drop the ladder down to give others the shortcut and the opportunities that you were given. Because I think we discount this idea of luck or being in the right place at the right time and really kind of focus too much on, hey, you just got to work your way there, which I think leads to hustle culture and ultimately to burnout. So for me, it was about being in a position where I could maximize my impact as much as possible. Part of it was really about, all right, well, what is the impact I want to have? And then also, what is the situation, work and also life, where I can maximize that impact as much as possible. So for me, that looked like leaving a company that I had been at for 6 years. And, I had a wonderful experience there. I learned so much. But when I looked at where I wanted my life to go, where I wanted my career to go, there was just a bit of misalignment. And so for me personally, that meant joining a new company.
That's a big decision. I imagine, as a follow-up, you're happier where you are now. You said you're feeling better, so this decision was a good one, right?
Yes, so far so good. I'm on week 3. But at the end of the day, I do feel like I'm the master of my own destiny. And I think that feeling of control, I know helps me out of burnout. So I do feel like I'm in a situation where I can make a larger impact on all types of folks, folks early on in their career, women, the BIPOC community, all these things. So yes, definitely the right choice.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Orchid isn't alone. People all around the world have felt stuck during the pandemic, leading them to redefine what success means to them.
I felt stuck in my professional life, even before the pandemic. I guess what changed it is that the pandemic has put light on it, direct light. Hello, I'm Sarah. I live in Brazil. I am married and a mom of 3 young children.
Hi, my name is Gabrielle. I live in Westchester County, New York. Before the pandemic, I worked as an assistant general manager for multiple Broadway shows.
I'm Kathleen. I'm in Southern California, and I'm a career coach and professional writer.
My name's Mark. I live up in the northeast of England in a place called Darlington, closest city being Newcastle. I'm a learning consultant.
My career halted during the pandemic. There was no live theaters. There was no ability to do the job I had been working at for 5 years and then years previously in other capacities.
The majority of my clients are now thinking about work as something that they want a little more fulfillment from.
My professional and personal life and my values and goals were not matching anymore.
It was expected that 9 to 5 life was just going to jump back into what we were going to do. And after having all that time, this time of working differently and finding that actually not commuting, spending that time to do other things, and actually working much more productively.
If I can do this with my work, I really need to now focus on my own life. What do I want that to be?
It really made me think, I can't have my job be my identity.
I was lucky enough to think, well, this has got a bit of time then to start my own business and take control of what I wanted to do. So I did.
But I finally left that industry early 2021. I took care of my kids at home for some months, 100% of my time dedicated to relearning how to play, reconnecting with my values.
Our success in the past predominantly was defined by what success was told to us. Okay, these are the 10 things that equal success for you. Now, the switch internally to people, they're saying, wait a minute. I have some things inside me that I want to use to define success.
It's not about the monetary success or the seniority success of actually thinking, well, you're successful because you're in a certain place in a company or you've got a certain role or what have you. I think for me now it's more about success is how we can help people, and do you feel yourself fulfilled by what you're doing?
And I think that there are ways to get the work done, but also have a better balance with your life. Prioritizing what makes us most sane and happy and level and able to provide care for those we love, and less about achieving.
Listening to what people want from their lives and their own situations, because everyone's different. And I think if you've got kids or people to care for, or you just want a more flexible lifestyle, as long as you're getting your work done to whatever it is that the output is that the business needs, then I think that it's more about listening to the person themselves.
They realize that we've spent a year adapting to a different way of doing business. And then you come to the end of that and things are starting to open up in the world again. But the business model from their employers hasn't changed. And they're bumping up against this business model that employers want to go back to what it was, right? Quote unquote normal. And the employee is recognizing we're at the normal now. This is it. There's no quote going back anywhere.
The feeling of being stuck has forced the global workforce to reflect and ultimately reevaluate their priorities. Now they're making big changes and forcing organizations into a moment of reckoning. Next week on AI at Work, with the global workforce reevaluating priorities, how are organizations dealing with this critical moment? How are they supporting their employees, many of whom are anxious to begin making progress in their lives again?
Work-life balance has always been incredibly important. What we've tried to do is invest in things that really matter to our employees.
How do we help them learn within the roles that they're in? How do we give them the coaching that they need in order to be able to succeed? And how do we help make their work really have the right levels of purpose?
Thanks for joining us today. I'll see you next time.